Welcome to day 18 of building a billion-dollar business in public. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So you might have already noticed we're missing one thing, but we're going to start off with some basic YouTube Q&A, which is me answering your guys' questions. So if you have a question and you want to leave a comment down below, please feel free to do so. I'll answer it in the next video. And we're going to get straight into strategizing. So today we got a bunch more questions, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time answering these questions, and then we'll get into a little bit of strategizing. We're going to keep it a little bit short today because we do have a lot more videos coming out. Now, if you have no clue what's going on, you're completely new to this, welcome. My name is Bigo. This is my daily YouTube channel. I have a primary YouTube channel called Bigo Official. I started off in robotics as a regular software engineer. From then on, went to UCLA to research the human consciousness, then went to NASA as a computer engineering intern, then went to the Fortune 500 as a software engineering consultant, worked for these companies, and then went from junior to manager in under 3 years, then quit to found my own firm. This firm right now, we're doing about $8 million in annual recurring revenue. By the end of the year, we will hit 10 million, which means we got 990 million left to go for our billion-dollar target. And now I'm working on Code to CEO in hopes of actually getting that billion-dollar goal. That's quick little gist of it as soon as possible. If you want to see my personal website for more information, you're more than welcome to. It's about.codetoceo.com. So without further ado, let's get straight into answering some of the comments. Okay, so let's start from the bottom. Mike says, you mentioned keeping 4 C-suite execs and 5 other employees. Can you dive a bit deeper on the unique value those 9 are bringing that AI still can't touch? And how do you decide what stays human versus what gets automated? Very good question. So why do I keep 4 C-suite and 5 full-time employees? First, I'll start from bottom up, full-time employees. So large portion of these guys' responsibilities are what's called PMs, project managers. AI, at least for now, will not be able to replace this because of the human connection you need to be a project manager. What does a project manager do? First, instead of managing the project, obviously, they have to maintain communication lines with the client. So in my specific firm, I urge all my project managers to actually establish personal relationships with the client. Oftentimes, I'll have a client that comes back and wants to re-engage with our firm, and they'll specifically ask for one of our PMs. They'll say, I don't want to work unless it's that guy on the project. So that's why an AI will never be able to replace, at least in my firm, a project manager, because a project manager builds a relationship with the client. This allows them to later on upsell, right? Allows them to actually fulfill better and reduces the chances for bad reviews, lawsuits, and things like that because there is a human attached to it at the end of the day. And they manage everything. They manage the expectations, they manage the project as a whole, they manage the internal team to make sure everything is done properly. So these guys are extremely important to our success, extremely. Okay? AI will never be able to replace them. I mean it. Now, what about the C-suite execs? Well, C-suite execs are kind of like these guys, but on steroids, okay? They don't just manage relationships and expectations with the clients, but they manage it with the PMs as well and everybody else. So a project manager might not be able to bring in a new prospect because they're just not going to have time for it. Maybe they can refer a family member or a friend every now and then. But a C-suite exec, they can almost always refer a person, refer a client, or bring in new clientele. In fact, that's their superpower. Most of our C-suite executives bring in a lot of clients to us because they are respectable people with their own rules and their own networks, and they bring in a decent amount of clients whenever they go out to business meetings, they meet other individuals. So a C-suite exec is basically a PM, but on steroids. I already mentioned it. Once again, AI will never be able to replace these guys because you can't have an AI go in person to business events, talking with people, really spreading the name of the company. My favorite thing about our C-suite execs and our full-time employees is they're basically walking billboards. All of these guys are walking advertisements because everywhere they go, they represent the company, right? It's not this or that, it's our firm, our this. CC execs have equity, right? The full-time employees that we have, our project managers, they actually make commission too on top of the salary. I butchered that. But this is my point. I have employees where AI can never even dream of replacing them in this specific case. There's been many times where, let's say, I haven't even been absent, I've been on a trip, or I can't get to certain matters, a C-suite exec will step in for me and they will be the front-facing person for the client. they will be able to be the face of the business until I am back. Okay. So they are essentially, another way to think of it is not, I don't want to say my clones, but in case I am absent, they can replace me. Okay. Now, not for long, obviously, not permanently, but at least for a short duration. An AI can never replace me. That's one point. And then, how do you decide what stays human versus what gets automated? I decide what stays human versus what gets automated essentially with AI, depending on primarily emotion. AI right now cannot replicate emotion too well. For any successful business, be it for marketing, be it for sales, be it for fulfillment, you need logic and emotion. You need logic in the form of quantitative metrics, saying here are the KPIs, here's what we have done, here are the improvements that we made. And then you need emotion from the perspective of to back those quantitative metrics. You need the emotion to say, because we have done this X, Y, and Z, you now have more time to spend with your family to do this, blah, 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 right? AI does not have that emotion. So any type of individual that I have in a business that has some form of emotional role in what it is we're doing, be it a sales guy, be it a marketing guy, they stay if AI cannot replace them. Now, AI replaces most simple, just logical things, meaning administrative work, automations, right? A lot of things have been automated because if it's boring administrative work, guess what? It's all logical. There's no emotion in it. However, if a job requires emotion, marketing, sales, that's very emotional. AI simply cannot do that as of right now. So I need a human being to be able to do that. They can use AI to help them with the logic aspect, but the emotion, you need a human for. So hopefully that answered your question. And then Sri Deep said, great video, man. Nice PF2. Very relevant to the info for me since I'm a final year electrical and electronics engineer and owning a business is my long-term goal for now. I'm thinking of trying for internships in startups that align with my interests, automation and robotics, before graduation, just to get out of my parents' house. Thinking about starting some kind of very niche electrical and electronics-based business while doing internships for survival. So I don't know where you're based out of. I don't know if you're, from Europe, Asia, if you're from Africa, Canada, United States. I don't know where you're from. I genuinely almost always am against you moving out of your parents. Let me explain. So Western society will have you believe that moving out is a smart thing. You can become independent, blah, blah, blah. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing. Being independent is one of the main things you need to learn, main skills you need to learn, especially if you want to get into business, because nobody's coming to hold your hand and help you out. However, especially you who's currently a student, the last thing you want to worry about is rent, money for food, just financial stress. Really the stress of just living, okay? If your parents right now are providing a way and out for you because of that, use it. That's your unique advantage. You have an advantage in that. Don't move out. Why move out and have to spend money? Why pay your own rent? All these things. Just help your parents out. If you're going to spend the money anyways, help your parents out a little bit with, let's say, shopping or you pay half the rent or whatever the case, but stay with them. The home cooked meals that you will get, the cleaning and all that stuff, it really will add a new layer of complexity to your life. Now, I'm not saying stay a child the rest of your life. No, you can still be independent. It's just let's play it smart, right? Understand where you currently are. Understand what you have and what you don't have. You have certain advantages, so you need to use them properly. You can look for the startup. You can look for this stuff, right? But don't move out of your parents' house just for the sake of moving out of your parents' house, okay? Stay there as long as you can. Build up some cash flow first and foremost. Build up a little bit of a baseline such that when you leave, you're not on survival mode. You're not constantly thinking, how do I buy food? How do I pay rent? Because that's not going to allow you to think big. That's not going to allow you to take risks. That's not going to allow you to one day in the future have your own business, right? Or at least a successful one. So play things smart. Now, outside of that, the next thing you asked was, oh, I thought you asked a question. Oh, but yeah, I don't recommend doing that. Personally speaking, I wouldn't do that. I would stay in my parents' house for as long as possible. And then once it gets to the point where like you're now confident you can leave, you can take care of yourself for at least a year, financially speaking, then I would do so. In the meantime, take advantage of the situation, right? Be thankful that you have that situation. Take advantage of it. Don't throw it away. Next one. I have a question. I work as a software engineer in my country and study in one of the best universities there. Around me, there are a lot of motivated people who want to run startups. Sometimes I get offers from my university friends to join one of the startups, and here's the question. I'm working in real IT for around 3 years. There's so much more to learn in soft and hard skills. Should I go meet all the opportunities while I can, sacrificing the speed of my career development, or should I wait for 2 to 3 years accumulating knowledge to enter startup fields with stronger core? So, your question, it's a good one, but it doesn't make too much sense. Let me explain why. So, you have two options basically. Let me draw kind of like a roadmap. On one side of the road, it's you continuing your 9 to 5 for another 2 to 3 years. On the other side of the road, it's you diving straight into the startup world. Now, what you're asking me is, do I spend 2 to 3 years to learn the skills that I need to succeed at a startup? But my question back to you is, what knowledge are you going to accumulate at a specific IT 9 to 5 that you wouldn't be able to get at a startup directly, faster, and better? Because what is the stronger core about? You already have 3 years of IT experience. Technically speaking, you should be good to enter at least a junior position, bare minimum. So, what other skill do you need to accumulate? Are we sure that you lacking in, well, you didn't say lacking, you said there's so much more to learn in soft and hard skills. How harsh of a judge are you on yourself in this specific case? Can you really not get into a startup right now and learn as it goes on? Are you truly lacking all this knowledge? So I would think twice about what it is you're trying to do. Fundamentally speaking, what you're telling me doesn't make sense because you don't have to stay in a 9 to 5 for 3 years in hopes of having a stronger core of getting into a startup. Just get into a startup right now, spend that 2 to 3 years there. You're going to learn it way faster, anyways. In terms of like how fast, quote unquote, time passes, I would say 1 year of experience in a startup is equivalent to 2 to 3 years in a 9 to 5, right? So they're not linear. 2 years in 9 to 5 is not the same as 2 years in a startup. I would say 1 year in a startup is like 2 to 3 years in a 9 to 5. So you spending 2 to 3 years here is the same as you just spending 1 year here. So just spend the 1 year here, right? Take them up on the offer and get into it. Of course, you still want to be smart about it. Don't get into a startup where they're only promising you equity because equity is monopoly money without any funding yet, right? Make sure you're actually going to get paid for it, and then you can take a proper risk. But until then, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And most definitely, if you have these opportunities, I wouldn't wait another 2 to 3 years accumulating knowledge to enter startup. I would just get into a startup now, accumulate my knowledge there. It's going to be more beneficial to you anyways. Perfect. So hopefully that answered your question. Let me leave a like on this and a nice thumbnail. That's not a question. Okay, perfect. Let me refresh the page to make sure that was everything. Already it was. So back to strategizing for tiny little bit. We don't got much to actually cover. Let's see how channel's been doing. We're picking up a couple of views. So last views 1211. So let's see in the last 7 days. We're up by about 1.8k views. So this is really good. We're growing. You can see it slowly but surely. Our subscriber count is up over here last 28 days. Not bad. And then I believe one of our recent videos did relatively well. I think it was a quitting one. Yeah. So this one got over 1,000 views actually. This is very interesting. So we can most definitely, I'll probably recreate this video on my main channel actually, because it performed really well on this channel. It will do pretty well on the main channel as well. I know for a fact. Already. And then I can actually make a proper hook. So if this video got this many views with an bad hook and everything, because this is obviously for daily, if I tailor this for the main channel, this will do very good. So I'm going to try that actually for strategizing. I'm going to try this for the main channel. I'll probably have it out for like later. That's a crazy dislike ratio though. I wonder. But people aren't even leaving any comments. Why are they disliking it? Maybe it's because of the type of the video. I think it's because they're expecting something completely different from the title, and when they enter, they see the thing, the daily type of thing, and then they dislike it because they don't want to sit through the whole thing. But I'll try this on the main channel and see how it performs. But that's pretty much it for now. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to know more, just click that notification bell so you'll be updated of tomorrow's vid. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments below. I'll answer it. Without further ado, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.